Okay, welcome to the fascinating world of economics, chapter 2. Okay, so chapter 2 is about economic systems. And an economic system is like how a society decides how to take those limited resources we talked about in chapter 1, those factors of production like land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. How do they take and try to satisfy society's wants? Because we learned in chapter 1 that people's wants are unlimited. There's no limit to the things that I want, okay? And there's no limits to the things that you want. So an economic system is a way in which a society uses limited resources to satisfy unlimited wants. We're going to find out that there are actually 3 questions that must be answered by the 3 questions in chapter 1, okay? An economic system has to answer these questions. What are we going to produce? How are we going to produce it? For whom are we going to produce it? Okay, so most countries have what we call a mixed system. And we're going to look at 3 systems of traditional, command, and market. And so most countries are going to have a mixture of that. A country like North Korea that's communist, they are just pure command. The government does everything there. So communist countries are not a mixture. Okay, the United States is a mixture of traditional, market, and command. Most European countries, most countries of the world are a mixture, what we call a mixed system or a mixed economy. Okay, when you look at this picture, what word comes to mind? I know when I look at this picture, I see happy people, but I also see traditional dress. Okay, so one of the economies systems we're going to study is traditional. There you have traditional Japanese dress. There you have traditional dress. It's probably somewhere in Central America, not necessarily Mexico. It could be down in Chile or Peru. I don't know. But this man looks muy feliz. Y también he's going to toca la guitarra and sing a song. Okay, that's my attempt at Spanish. All right, here we have some of these people in the United States. Okay, these are people, we might call them Amish people or Quakers in Pennsylvania. All right, they do things kind of traditionally. Recently I drove up to Ohio and I had to slow down all of a sudden in the middle of the road because there were 4 of these buggies going along with Amish people. Okay, next one. This is probably somewhere in Sudan or Somalia or Eritrea or maybe the country of Djibouti. I don't know if any of you have been to Djibouti. It's in East Africa. But again, the word we're getting at here is traditional. Okay, so when you hear the word traditional, what are some synonyms for traditional? Well, here we go. It's long established. We've been doing this forever. It's customary. It's just the way we do it. It's time honored. It's established. Okay. It's classic. Okay, like the classic rock and roll guitars at Gibson Les Paul. Okay, so they've been playing them forever. Okay, so these are just some synonyms for the word traditional. So we're going to look at a traditional economy here shortly. When you look at this guy's somewhere probably maybe in Asia or South America somewhere, but we're doing traditional farming, okay? This is another rural village somewhere in the world, and again, they operate in traditional types of economies. They just do things by custom, okay? There's no rule of law, there's no courts, okay? There's no pricing system, there's no marketers, there's no salespeople, they just do things by tradition, okay? So in a rural part of the world, some of the synonyms we have for rural is like agrarian, agricultural. You might say they're backwoods people. Bucolic, idyllic. Pastoral is another word for people that live out in provincial and rustic. Okay. Economic systems. Okay, so again, it's how a society uses limited resources to satisfy unlimited wants. There's 3 systems we're going to look at traditional, command, and market. Okay, mixed economies have features of all 3 of these. Okay, so the United States has a mixture of traditional, command, but it's 90% a market. Okay, and we'll talk about that again here in a second. Okay, traditional economy. It centers on families and clans or tribes. All right, so decisions are based on customs and beliefs, the things we've been doing forever. Okay, so if you go down the rainforest of Brazil, they've been doing the same customs for 1,000 years. They've been doing things the same way, the customary way. Everyone has a set role. Women know what their job is, men know what their job is. Female children know what their job is, and male children know what their job is. There's no chance of deviating from the pattern, okay? So you know what your role is, you just do it. There's no discussion about it, okay? The main focus of a traditional economy is the good of the group. We're trying to keep the whole group alive. Think about Indian tribes here in North America before the Europeans arrived. Their whole goal was to just the well-being of the group, keep the group safe. Okay, we're going to keep the group fed, we're going to keep the group safe. Okay, and a command economy. A command economy is one that the government makes all the economic decisions. So see the word command, C-O-M-M, that's also the beginning of communism. In a communist country like North Korea or Cuba, Vietnam used to be in this situation, and China used to be in this situation. I mean, they're still communist, but they've adopted some market principles, but especially North Korea and Cuba. The government they decide what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce it. So there's three economic questions: what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce. That all gets decided by the government. Okay, so the government decides what food to produce, the government decides what clothes they're going to make. All these decisions are made by the government. Okay, so that is a command system. So the government owns the means of production. Remember from chapter 1, the means of production are, the factors of production are land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship. Well, in a command system, there is no entrepreneurship. Okay, the government acts as the entrepreneur. They're the ones that starts and runs the business. But the land, labor, and capital, that is all owned by the government as well. Okay, so that would be a command economy. Then in a market economy, that's what we have. Most countries of the world have some form of a market. The United States and Europe have very established institutional markets. They're driven by choices of consumers and producers. So Apple decides, hey, we're going to make this product. We're going to make an iPhone and put it out there and hope people buy it. They're going to market it. They're going to tell everybody all the advantages of the phone, and then people buy it, hopefully. If they don't buy it, they take it back off the market. But nobody makes you buy an iPhone. You can go buy a Samsung phone. You don't have to buy any phone at all. Okay, so in a market system, consumers and producers basically interact in the marketplace, and that's what makes the whole thing go. Okay, so it says consumers spend money. Some people go into business for themselves. I sell my labor to Metro and Nashville Public Schools. If at some point I don't want to work here anymore, then I can go sell my labor to somebody else. You can sell your labor to Walmart. You can sell your labor to Target. You can sell your labor to Vanderbilt University. So that's basically how a market works. Is consumers and producers benefit from each other when they act in self-interest. We talked a little bit about this in chapter 1. If I'm hungry and you have a restaurant, my self-interest is served because I walk into your restaurant, I look at the menu, I order food, I pay you for the food. You benefit because I paid you money for the food that you made. So both of us, our self-interest was served. Okay, so in a market, everybody's pursuing their self-interest. It's not being selfish. It means that we're all just doing what's best for us, each one of us. Okay. Most early societies all had traditional economies. Again, the goal of traditional economy is survival. They just want to survive. Now, they tend to be really inefficient because they will not adapt to change. Okay, so early societies, though they're simple and people like it that it's simple, you know, what happens if they go hunting and they don't find any game? They have no food to eat. Okay, so they're very simple. However, they're not very efficient because they don't adapt to change very well. Okay, the advantages and disadvantages of a traditional economy. There's little disagreement over the goals. The goal is, again, it's survival and the well-being of the group. That's all they're really concerned about. The disadvantages, they're resistant to change. They're not very productive, okay? They do not use new methods, and people are not in the jobs they're best suited for. The productivity is very low. They don't produce a lot of food. They don't produce much of any. There's no surpluses of everything. They have what we call a subsistence living. That is a word you need to know for your test. Subsistence. It means they make enough for their own survival, and that is it. A lot of these societies are under pressure to change. A lot of Africans, in fact, cell phones, the biggest market in the world right now for cell phones is Africa. They're putting cell phone towers all over Africa. People are starting to use cell phones in Africa and Asia, parts of the world that never had this before. It's one of the biggest places where they're marketing cell phones now, because people are accepting to some of this technology. And some of them have gone to commercial farming. Instead of going out in the field and do everything with a shovel and a pick and a hoe, they're using tractors to produce surplus agriculture. Okay, so the key concepts again here: traditional economy, command economy, market economy. Traditional economy is one in which the goal is survival of the group. Command economy is one in which everything is owned by the government. And lastly, a market economy is where producers and consumers interact in the marketplace, everybody pursuing their self-interest. We'll see you next time.